Tomorrow I'm running a workshop on how to get into consulting, and particularly how to switch from contracting to consulting. So if you're currently stuck in long-term contracts, 6 months at a time or something like that, you have to go to some location perhaps to work on site. It's happening less these days. Sometimes you end up in some awful trading estate on the edge of some town you didn't particularly want to be in, and you end up a part of the furniture. Unfortunately, you end up getting sucked into the politics, so a bit like being an employee. If you can switch to consulting, you can get paid more per day. You can do more interesting work. You do the strategy without doing the other stuff, and you get higher status as well. And then you can take time off in between because you're getting paid more money. So how do you do that? Here's 5 steps to help you move from contracting to consulting. We're going to go into this in a lot more detail tomorrow night in the consulting workshop. I'll put a link underneath of how to get tickets for that. First thing is you have to remove the middleman. If you've got an agent, if you're currently getting contracting gigs through an agency, if you're an associate, if you've got, I've had some clients who've worked for the Mind Gym and organisations like that, and you're basically getting paid at quite a modest, low training rate, and they're getting paid a really high rate. You have to get around those people and go direct. And in order to do that, second step is you've got to raise your profile. And there are tangible things you can do that anybody can do to raise your profile. It means posting on LinkedIn regularly, and I'm going to show you how to do that without it being a massive chore tomorrow and in the consulting workshop. You also, you might want to look at speaking at conferences, being on panels. I've done those kind of things. When you get used to it, it's very easy to turn up with very little preparation and do that, particularly panels, because you're just answering people's questions. The other thing is you want to think about who you can write for. Can you write for a site that is an industry magazine? Well, it could be a print magazine in actual fact, or it could be an online magazine where you can share something really useful, and you can then point at that as a kind of status symbol for your expertise. Now, aside from that, you want to think about what is the methodology you use when you're working with people, when you're helping them. What is your approach? And you might think, well, I don't really have a methodology. But the fact is, you are instinctively approaching your work in a certain way, and you probably have opinions about the right way to do this work. Well, that opinion and that gut instinct of what works best from your experience, you can take that and reverse engineer a methodology. So even though you might not even think of it like this, you can kind of work backwards and say, well, what do I do first? What do I do second? What am I doing that other people, well, how do I think about this? Maybe I think of something that other people miss when they approach this topic for you on a consulting. If you know what that is, then you can use that as part of your methodology, and you can formalize it and give it a name. And I work with one-to-one clients quite often to do this. It makes a big difference in your marketing and in your positioning. And the final thing is, penultimate thing is, what you want to shoot for is to do the strategy and not the implementation. So instead of getting sucked into the grunt work and the business as usual stuff, the BAU stuff, what you want to do is go in and say, here's how I think you should be doing this, and then give them the strategy, write a report, you present it perhaps, and then you can exit. And you let other people deal with the day-to-day slog of actually implementing that. So that's what you're shooting for, and that's what gets you the higher rates. And it means ultimately that the client doesn't have to pay more money because they pay you a higher rate for the strategy, and then the people they bring in for implementation are often cheaper than you would be as a contractor because you're doing a kind of mix of both. And so the price doesn't work out that much more for them, but you're taking the lion's share, which is obviously good news for you. And finally, you do need to somehow embody your experience and embody your knowledge. You need to, carry yourself as if you know what you're talking about. And this is something I haven't traditionally found very easy. I was quite inconfident. What's the opposite of confident? Inconfident, unconfident. When I was younger, I don't have that much of a problem now. But you do need to look around you and realise You know, those people who irritate you, who know less than you, but seem to behave as if they know everything. Well, instead of getting irritated by them, you should get inspired by them and actually say, okay, well, if they can walk around like they're the big cheese, I need to actually start owning what I know. And I do notice that there's a bit of a gender bias. Men are much more likely to do that naturally than women. And so one of the things I work with women clients is to just find that confidence in themselves without overpromising, without being arrogant, and uh, and and just remind themselves of what they're good at. And I'll tell some fun little stories about how I did that on my very first consulting gig for Siemens, who were buying a division of the BBC many years ago, and how you can actually, what you can do tangibly to boost your own confidence. So we'll talk about that tomorrow night. If you're interested, check the link that I'm going to drop below. You can buy tickets for this thing for 29 quid. It includes not just for live presentation, it's like 90 minutes to 120 minutes Tuesday night, but also I'm going to do a live Q&A next night. You can ask things about your particular situation. You get all the recordings as well, if you can't make some part of it live. And I'm going to invite you into a private Telegram group with me where we can carry on this conversation. I can help you implement what it is you've been learning. I'll do a little backwards and forwards in the Telegram group as well. Telegram's an app like WhatsApp, but it's got better privacy. People can't see your phone number in Telegram. And the whole lot is 29 quid, which is a bargain. And I hope to see you there. If you want to ask me anything about it, you can drop a comment under this video. I'll be happy to answer. Oh, you're wondering where I am? Some people probably see that I'm in Madeira at the moment. So it's a pretty nice place to be. As you can see, I'm working remotely for about a month. This is my view. And I'm about to go over here and have some lunch. So I will see you. I'll be in a slightly better setup, I promise, when I do the live workshop tomorrow night. But I will see you there. Some of you there, hopefully. We've already got quite a few people booked. It seems to be quite a popular topic. Both moving from contracting to consulting, but also this is very relevant for people who have not done any kind of contracting or consulting and want to know how to get into it, how to become a consultant from scratch right from the beginning. So if that's you, it's also very much relevant for you. And this is about consulting to organizations. So anyone who wants to do that, you would do well to learn from my 20 years or something of experience having done that and having been a Deloitte senior managing consultant. So I hope to see you there. Have a good week.